I ranked first in the whole school, and she made me admit I cheated, for another guy. They all stared at me like I was trash. The principal's office smelled like old books and disinfectant, but the air was thick with judgment. Mrs. Keene's voice was cold. "So, Mason, do you admit you copied answers from Ryan?" My throat tightened. Ryan, her new crush. My so-called girlfriend, Emma, sat beside me, arms crossed, not once looking my way. I kept waiting for her to speak up. To say it wasn't true. To tell them I'd never cheat. But she didn't. Instead, she sighed and whispered, "Just admit it, Mason. It's better for everyone." Better for everyone? I was the top student. The guy who spent weekends buried in textbooks, who helped her pass math when she was drowning. And now I was being thrown under the bus for a guy who once asked me what 5 by 5 was as a joke. I looked at Emma, really looked. Her eyes were distant. Cold. Not the same girl who used to cry in my arms over failed quizzes. Not the same girl who once told me I was the only one who truly believed in her. Now, she believed in someone else. I didn't say anything. I just nodded. And in that moment, everything shattered. My reputation. My transcript. My faith in love. The principal wrote it down. Cheating. Academic dishonesty. A black mark on my record. I wasn't expelled, but I might as well have been. Teachers looked at me differently. Students whispered in the hall. My scholarship was gone before the bell even rang. And Emma? She started dating Ryan 2 days later. That weekend, I packed my things. Changed schools. Changed everything. But what I didn't expect, what none of them expected, was that I wasn't going to start over weak. I was going to rise again. Higher. Smarter. Sharper. And this time, I wasn't falling for a pretty face. Not when the last one nearly ruined my future. My name's Mason Carter. I wasn't the guy people invited to wild parties or picked first for sports. But I was the one they always asked for homework help the night before exams. My life revolved around numbers, logic, results. First place wasn't just a goal, it was who I was. Ever since middle school, my parents drilled it into me, work hard, get into a top university, and you'll never have to struggle like we did. So I studied. A lot. While others were out, I stayed in with flashcards. While they dated around, I had Emma. Emma Harper. She was the exception in my neatly scheduled life. The chaos I welcomed. The girl who wore oversized hoodies, doodled sunflowers in the margins of her notes, and always smelled like strawberries. I met her during sophomore year. She had transferred from another school and sat next to me in chemistry. First thing she said to me was, "You have really neat handwriting. Are you a robot?" That made me laugh. No one talked to me like that. We weren't immediate best friends or anything. But she kept showing up, asking questions, borrowing pens, sliding me candy during long lectures. By the time junior year rolled around, we were inseparable. Study sessions turned into late-night phone calls. Test prep turned into movie nights. She wasn't great at school, but she tried. And when she didn't understand something, she didn't pretend. She got frustrated, called the textbooks sadistic torture manuals, and then pushed harder. That's what I loved most about her. Yeah, I said love. I didn't even realize when I fell. Maybe it was during one of those tutoring sessions where she gave up, dropped her head on the desk, and mumbled, "I'm stupid." And I replied, "You're the smartest person I know, because you never quit." We officially started dating that spring. And for a while, it felt like everything made sense. I had the grades. I had the plan. And I had Emma. But slowly, things started to shift. She stopped texting back as fast. Our study sessions got shorter. She started hanging out more with this new guy, Ryan Mitchell, a football player who thought long division was a term from a battlefield strategy. Emma said I was being paranoid. He's just a friend. Don't be insecure. And I tried not to be. But insecurity doesn't need much to grow. Just silence. Distance. A laugh shared with someone else that used to be meant for you. Still, I held on. Because when you've built your whole future with someone in mind, when you've imagined college dorms, late-night takeout, matching graduation gowns, it's hard to believe they'd just drop you. It's even harder to believe they'd do it like that. But they did. And it broke something in me. Not just my heart. But my sense of right. Of fairness. Of everything I worked for suddenly crumbling with one lie. Now, I'm not Mason Carter, the top student with the perfect GPA and sweet girlfriend. I'm just the guy who lost it all. Or so they thought. It started with a rumor. A stupid one. A quiet murmur in the hallways that I must have cheated on the finals. Mason? No way. Dude doesn't even talk to people, let alone cheat off them. Maybe he finally cracked. Heard he spends more time with textbooks than humans. At first, I laughed it off. I mean, I had proof. I'd aced every test that semester. My notes were meticulous. I'd even helped Emma and a few of our classmates prep for the exam. But then I noticed something strange. Ryan Mitchell, the guy who could barely spell his own name without autocorrect, suddenly had the exact same score as me on the final. Not just the same grade. The same answers. Down to my unique phrasing on the essay portion. I knew it wasn't a coincidence. But I also didn't want to believe what it meant. Emma started acting weirder too. She got quiet around me. Skipped our after-school study hangouts. And when I asked what was wrong, she just said, "Mason, not everything's about grades, okay? Maybe you should let other people shine too." That hit harder than I expected. Was that what she thought? That I was just some selfish nerd, obsessed with being the best? A week later, I was called into the office. Principal Keene. 2 teachers. Emma. And Ryan. I thought maybe they were going to apologize. That someone figured out Ryan copied me. That justice, for once, would be on my side. Instead, I walked into a silent room, and the looks on their faces said it all. "Mason," the principal began, folding her hands on the desk, "we've been reviewing the final exam results. There's been a concern regarding academic dishonesty." I blinked. "Excuse me? The patterns in your answers, and those of Ryan's, are identical in several key areas." I turned to Ryan. He just shrugged. My voice trembled. "He copied me. I didn't cheat." Emma finally looked up, her eyes unreadable. "Mason, just tell them the truth." "What?" Her words were soft, but they sliced deep. "You showed Ryan the answers. Didn't you?" I froze. My heart hammered in my chest. She knew that wasn't true. She knew. But she kept going. "I told him not to use them, but he did. You probably thought it'd be harmless. Right?" My jaw clenched. "Emma. What are you doing?" She didn't respond. Just looked down at her lap like she was ashamed, for me, not for what she was saying. "And Ryan?" He smirked. That's when it hit me. They were setting me up. Throwing me under to protect Ryan. Maybe because she liked him. Maybe because she wanted out and this was her escape. Or maybe she just didn't care anymore. And in that moment, I realized, this wasn't just about a test. This was betrayal, pure and simple. And it had just begun. I couldn't sleep that night. The ceiling fan spun in lazy circles above me, but all I could see was Emma's face, how she refused to meet my eyes in that office. How she chose silence over truth. I kept thinking, maybe she panicked. Maybe she didn't mean it. But then I remembered the way Ryan smirked, like the whole thing had been rehearsed. Like he knew exactly how it would go down. Was I that blind? I scrolled through old messages on my phone. Back when Emma used to send me memes at midnight, rants about her teachers, pictures of the snacks she stole from the cafeteria just for me. I opened one from 3 months ago. Emma, if I fail this next test, I swear I'll marry you just so I never have to do math again. Loudly crying face with tears of joy ring. Back then, I'd laughed. Now, it made my stomach twist. I sat up in bed, heart pounding. I wanted to call her. Demand an explanation. Ask her why she did it, why she didn't just break up with me if she wanted out. Instead, I just stared at her contact name. Emma Dizzy. I changed it to don't. And still, I couldn't bring myself to delete her. The days that followed were unbearable. Teachers avoided eye contact. My locker was vandalized with a sticky note that said, "Smartest cheater alive, 100 points." And Emma? She walked the halls like nothing happened. Worse, she walked them with him. Ryan had his arm around her one morning. She wore the blue hoodie I gave her for her birthday, the one she used to call her safe space. Now it was just his accessory. Our eyes met briefly. She looked away first. I couldn't eat. Couldn't focus. I showed my parents the letter from the school, and they were stunned. Not angry, just disappointed. And that hurt even more. "Are you sure you didn't help him, Mason?" Mom asked gently. "Even a little?" My silence spoke louder than any scream could have. I tried to confront Emma once. Cornered her after school, near the bike racks. "Just tell me why," I said. "Why would you do that to me?" She hesitated. For a split second, something flickered in her eyes. Guilt? Fear? Regret? Then she looked past me. "It's done, Mason. I don't want to fight about it." I took a step closer. Was I just a stepping stone? Someone to get you through chemistry and calculus until someone cooler came along? She swallowed hard. "You always cared more about your grades than me. Maybe Ryan actually listens when I talk." I wanted to laugh. Scream. Cry. Instead, I said nothing. I just nodded and walked away. That night, I sat alone in my room, staring at my shattered future. My dream school required a spotless academic record. My scholarship was gone. One accusation, one lie, had undone everything I'd worked years for. I should have been angry. But I wasn't just angry. I was lost. Who was I without my achievements? Without Emma? I opened a blank Word doc. Typed nothing. Closed it. Then I opened it again. And started writing a letter. Not to her. To me. "Dear Mason. They took your name and tried to stain it. But they didn't take your mind. They didn't take your fire. And they sure as hell didn't take your future. You let her in because you trusted her. That's not weakness. That's being human. Now it's time to rise. Not for revenge. But for you." That letter saved me. Because the next day, I made the decision that changed everything. I submitted my transfer application. A new school. A fresh start. And this time, no distractions. No false friends. No pretty lies. Just me, and the version of myself I had nearly forgotten I could be. It was 2 weeks into my new school when the second blow came. I had just started to breathe again. My classes were tough, but the teachers here didn't know me as the cheater. They just knew me as the quiet kid who answered every question right and turned in assignments early. I'd even made a few tentative connections. One girl in particular, Madeline Reese, Maddie for short, had this sharp wit and a quiet intensity. She didn't care about gossip or popularity. She just wanted to graduate early and move to New York to study journalism. I admired that. For the first time in a while, things felt stable. Until I got a message from an unknown number. Unknown, still playing the victim, huh? I stared at the screen. Unknown, thought a change of scenery would erase the truth. Another ping. Unknown, screenshot attached. I tapped it. It was a photo, me, standing in front of the principal's office at my old school. The caption read: "When top students cheat and blame others. Hashtag fake genius, hashtag Mason exposed." And beneath it, hundreds of likes. Dozens of comments. My stomach dropped. Emma had posted it on her new account, an anonymous gossip page for exposing school scandals. She had even uploaded clips of me helping her study, twisted into some kind of conspiracy montage. In one, I was saying, just remember the answers, not the formulas, they'll save time. Spliced out of context, it looked like I was coaching someone to cheat. She turned my kindness into evidence. I felt the blood drain from my face. I hadn't just lost my reputation in one school, I was now a meme. A joke. And it was spreading fast. My hands trembled. Maddie's going to see this. My teachers might. The new principal, what if they ask questions? I closed the phone and sat down, heart racing. How far was Emma willing to go? How had I not seen the person behind those soft eyes and strawberry-scented sweatshirts? I rushed outside to get air. The world spun. For the first time, I wasn't sure I could outrun this. Not even here. Later that night, I got another message. This one from a name I hadn't seen in weeks. "Emma, you made me look like the bad guy. I just corrected the narrative." I wanted to throw my phone. Corrected the narrative? She betrayed me. Lied. Let me take the fall. And now she was doubling down, rewriting the story where she was the victim, and I was the manipulative genius who got caught. I stared at her message for a long time. And then I typed one word. Me, noted. That was the last time I messaged her. But it wasn't the last time she would hear from me. I didn't plan on seeing Emma again. Honestly, I hoped I never would. But fate has a twisted sense of humor. It happened during the regional academic decathlon. My new school had entered last minute, and guess who showed up in the lobby wearing her old charm and a smug expression? Emma. With Ryan right behind her. I froze when I saw them. She spotted me instantly, her smile faltering just a little before she leaned in to whisper something in Ryan's ear. He chuckled and kissed her cheek like they were royalty. I turned away, heart pounding. I wasn't here for them. I was here to prove something, to myself. But she wouldn't let me. During the break between rounds, she approached. Alone. "You transferred to this school," she said, arms folded. "Bit of a downgrade, isn't it?" I kept my voice calm. "Still better than staying somewhere poisoned." She scoffed. "Still dramatic, I see." I looked her straight in the eye. "And you're still a liar." Her lips pressed into a smirk. "You did cheat, Mason. You just don't like that someone finally exposed you." I laughed. Quietly. Bitterly. "No, Emma. I don't like that the girl I trusted turned me into a scapegoat just to protect her new boyfriend's ego." Her eyes narrowed. "You made me feel small every day. Always correcting me, always chasing perfection. Ryan made me feel enough." I stepped closer. "And so your revenge was ruining my future?" "You ruined it yourself," she snapped. "By never seeing me." "Funny," I said, voice low. "I saw you more clearly than anyone else ever did." I saw your potential, your effort, your worth. But I never saw this. The version of you that would weaponize my kindness. Lie. Gaslight. Destroy. She went quiet. And then Ryan walked up, all bravado. Yo, you done trying to win arguments like trophies? I turned to him, calm now. You can have her. But I hope you like illusions, because that's all she's ever selling. He shoved me, but I didn't flinch. The teacher stepped between us before things escalated. Emma pulled Ryan back, muttering, he's not worth it. But as they walked off, I knew something had shifted. She wasn't smug anymore. She was rattled. Because she saw it, what I'd become. Stronger. Unshaken. Unbreakable. That afternoon, my team won first place. I scored the highest individual marks in math and logic. And as I walked across the stage, applause filling the auditorium, I spotted Emma in the back. She wasn't smiling anymore. She looked hollow. Empty. Like maybe, for the first time, she realized what she'd lost. And what I'd become without her. People say revenge is sweet. But I didn't want revenge. I wanted peace. After the academic decathlon, my inbox flooded, this time with congratulations, not accusations. Teachers praised me, classmates called me the genius transfer, and college recruiters started paying attention again. The truth didn't need to be shouted. It just needed to be lived. And I was living it. But the past has a habit of showing up. Especially when it's not finished with you. 2 weeks after the competition, I got an anonymous tip from a fake account. It was a video. Shaky footage from a party Emma and Ryan had gone to. She was crying, slurring her words, yelling at him. You used me, she screamed. I threw away everything for you. He just laughed. You wanted to matter. I gave you attention. What more did you want? Then he walked away, and she crumpled to the floor. I didn't feel good watching it. I didn't feel vindicated. I felt nothing. That was how I knew I'd let go. Spring came fast. I was sitting on the quad with Maddie, watching cherry blossoms fall like pink confetti. She leaned against my shoulder, flipping through the latest edition of the school paper, where her article about social reputation and student mental health had just been published. You think it'll make a difference? She asked. It already has, I said, nodding at the comments under her article. One read. This story reminded me that some people aren't what the internet says they are. Some people deserve a second look. Another said. I used to think school labels meant everything. Now I realize they don't define anyone. Maddie glanced at me. You ever gonna tell me what really happened at your old school? I hesitated. Then said, someday. But right now, I like being known for who I am here, not who I was there. She smiled. Good answer. I did eventually speak to Emma again. Not in person. Just a short message she sent, months later. Emma. I heard about your win. Congrats. I'm sorry for everything. I thought I needed to protect myself. But I realize now, I destroyed someone who only ever believed in me. I stared at the message for a long time. I didn't reply. Not because I was angry. Because I didn't need to. She had finally told the truth. And sometimes, that's the only closure you get. Or need. Now, when people ask why I changed schools, I just say. I needed a reset. I had to lose everything to find the version of myself worth keeping. Because that's the truth. Sometimes, the people who break you don't realize they're handing you the tools to build something stronger. I'm not the same Mason I was. And I'm glad. Because the old me only chased perfection. The new me? He chases purpose. And this time, I'm not running alone.